had all year, right? You've heard the word dibbles for the past few years, and I'm telling you this is what it's going to look like in third grade. Well, this is where we are. Tomorrow, starting April 1st, we do our end of year. We start our end of year dibbles assessment. That's where our kindergarten through third grade students take the literacy screening to see exactly where they are on their grade level as far as reading. The components of reading actually is happening inside the classrooms, and then that they're reading on grade level. So our whole purpose is now that it's state mandated that we take these assessments. In that, third grade now has a new law that's in place from our Department of Education that states if a student is well below on the DIBELS assessment, they will have to repeat the third grade, no matter what report card grades look like. So it has always been our priority to make sure that you all stay full aware of what we're doing here at Audubon to make sure that we move all of our students on to the fourth grade through the DIBELS process, and that DIBELS is not holding any of our students back. In order to do that, students have to score a below on the district assessment, on the state assessment for DIBELS. They have to score in the range of below. Inside your package, you'll have all of these documents that I'm speaking of, and I'll take them out one by one. You all have the same packet that I do, so if you would like to, you can go through them with me. But everything that I'm talking about, we gave to you in these packets. So let's go ahead and say hi to our third grade teachers, Ms. Glover, Ms. Davis. I see Ms. Cobb Esther in the back here. So these are our third grade teachers. You should know by now, it's April 1st. Ms. Davis, Ms. Davis is our ELA teacher, but she does work in support of all the teachers in third grade, as well as Ms. Ventures, who's our school site test coordinator, and Ms. Hilton, who's our school-wide interventionist, that works closely with the DIBELS assessment. And those are the ladies that will actually be testing your students tomorrow. This is the teachers do not test them. We have a DIBELS team that actually tests the students that does not provide them with direct instruction. So tomorrow, the students will take all of the measures for the DIBELS assessment. It is approximately
7 to 11 minutes.
No,
4 measures.
They take 4 measures. Oh, one is for accuracy. They take 4 measures, and that's just a test. 4 little quick assessments, and they're all a minute long. And they're expected to perform in a specific range. Again, what did I say was the range that they have to meet in order to pass? Below. Good. They have to be below. They cannot be well below. So in the packet, some of you have received where your students actually received well below in the middle of the year. When we did it back in January, we had that meeting where I gave you the test scores. Well, you'll see another form that says that the students are expected to have a promotion in jeopardy because they were well below. If you receive that form in your packet, that's preliminary. That is to let you know that it's possible because your baby scored well below mid-year. Now, we have a bunch of things in place that's happening from January to present date that will continue on toward the latter of this meeting that I'll kind of like go over with you. But we have a bunch of different things in place to make sure that we're giving them all we have if they score well below. So I'll just go over the important stuff first from the state, and then I'll have the teachers, Ms. Interest, or Ms. Hilton if they wanted to just kind of like piggyback or chime in wherever I am on this. So the first page that you're receiving here, this is your second time should be seeing this. You receive these at the beginning and mid-year, and that just basically goes over the state requirements. And in here, the most important thing that I want you to take from it is in the second bullet. In the second little paragraph under Louisiana Revised Statute 2411, the sentence that has the bold print that says third grade students who achieve a well below composite score on DIBELS 8 literacy screener will not be promoted to the next grade level. So that's why we're here today, because I need to inform you how important it is. Am I worried about that? I'm not. Let me tell you why. If you turn to the back side, even though it says that, the state is giving the students so many different opportunities to actually show that they are progressing. So again, as long as they get to below, now do we want them below? No, we don't. But we do want them at below with enough opportunity to go on to fourth grade to continue this work. Because some of the things that we do, even though they don't take dibbles anymore in fourth grade, we still want them reading on grade level, so we still use those same practices when they get to fourth grade. Because I don't want them to be going to middle school and they talk about they came from Audubon and they can't read. No. Okay? So that's never my goal. I still keep them through the same processes that continuously go on. Right, Miss Grove, when they get to fifth grade to Miss Grove, her baby's in third grade here, so that's why she's sitting in this meeting with you. But by the time they get to fifth grade, we keep these things in place so that our babies do read on grade level. So am I worried about them going on to fourth grade being below? I am not. But I do want you to know that in order to get there, they have to at least score below. So on the second page, you'll see that the state is giving them 3 opportunities to test. So they'll begin testing tomorrow. Our testing window does not close until April 30th. So they'll have this whole window of the month of April to test. But if they score well below from this time that we have it, they have a second opportunity to take the test. That's why we're testing third grade early. So they'll have a second opportunity to test the first week or so in May. So again, while school is still going on, they'll have a second opportunity to test if they score well below. Only the students that score well below will get this second opportunity to test in May. If they don't pass it again, or if they score well below again, they are mandated to go to summer school and take it a third time. Here's the kicker. Some of us plan summer. If you want them to go on to fourth grade, it is mandatory that they take the DIVL assessment in summer school, and they can only take it after the end period of time of actually attending. It's always been about 2 weeks long. It's usually 12 days, and then at the end, they take the actual assessment for the third time. So our goal is to get them to below or better. So that's all this is saying. If they continue to score well below, they get 3 opportunities to take it before next school year, before August gets here. Well, before the July 1 rollover, because everything for the fiscal year of a school starts July 1. So before July 1, they'll have 3 opportunities to take this assessment. But if we can get them out of here April 1st to score at least a below, we don't have to worry about any of this. And that's our goal. Is everyone going to come out of third grade reading on grade level? Probably not. But we are working hard to ensure that all of our students move on to fourth grade. Because again, whatever deficits they have, we try our hardest to meet them where they are, no matter what grade level they enter. So that's the first one that you will see. I then gave you a document that the state provided. You have access to any of this information if you go on LDOE website. You just type in Louisiana Department of Education, literacy, and a wealth of information comes up. A lot of it is the language. It's like, what are they talking about? That's why I try to have these meetings to kind of like break it down and answer your questions, because it can get all over the place, and who has time for that, right? So in this, I gave you this document that's talking about the promotion guidance. I slightly went over it just by talking with the other document, but this is where it actually shows you the cut point. What is it going to take for your baby to score below? So composite is the very first line underneath the measure. That's the total score that they need in order to move on to fourth grade. They would have to score a 440, a 424 composite. And these are the 4 measures that actually break down or come together to provide that total score. So if you can recall back at your middle of the school year, you had a score, a composite score that we gave you on your scorecard that told you what the score was and where they fell. So if they were less than, I believe that then we gave you the end of the year measures. Mid of the year measures was slightly lower than this because every testing period they go up a little bit more. So they were slightly lower than this, but if it falls in between that range, that's where your baby falls on the scale. So again, they have to make a what to be below? A 424. That's the lowest score they can make to move on to fourth grade without the other opportunities to test. So what are we doing here at Audubon? All kind of stuff, y'all. They should be so tired of intervention. Y'all tired of that word, huh? Well, don't get tired of it. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. What we're sending home with you is a bunch of examples, and this should not be your first time seeing them. What we're sending home with you today is just a bunch of examples of what we're doing with them. They should be so familiar with doing these things. They do them in class all the time. What are we doing? From the start of the day to the end of the day, they are in interventions if they need it. We start the day with, now it's math, but typically we would start, no, they still have some student groups that did pull-outs. So at the end, Ms. Hilton leads our intervention team, so she and other interventionists, as well as Ms. Davis and our whole third grade team started today, where they're doing rotations in the morning time, the same way that we would do it throughout the whole school for just a select group of students. They do it for their whole third grade team. So when I tell you phenomenal, everybody's on the same page, ready and wanting to push those babies out in third grade. Not that they don't like them or love them, they just know they gotta go, okay? So we start the day with interventions from 8:40 to 9 o'clock. They're either being pulled out to just hit it hard. They're in classrooms doing rotations where one teacher is specifically going over this measure, one teacher is specifically going over this measure. In their ELA blocks, Ms. Davis doing an amazing job of a 3-grade rotation where she has them on a computer-based program called Lexia, and that's a one-on-one tutor where your students are on the computer and getting these same skills drilled every single day to them for 20 minutes out of the day just in that rotation, and then they'll come to her table where she's just drilling them, whatever they need as far as these measures that they're being tested on. Ms. Hilton and her team comes back again toward the end of the day or throughout the day where they do something called air reading, where they get on and they have a one-to-one tutor where an adult is talking to them through a virtual screen. I think if you're in that, if your child is in that program, you have to fill out a permission slip. Well, there's a live tutor, a live person going back and forth with them drilling these measures. So we are doing a wealth of things to make sure that they are familiar, because a lot of times for passing the test, it's just knowing how to take it. So being familiar with the content, being familiar with what they're asking you to do, and just using the skills that you already know to make sure that you are doing what the expectation is of that measure. So inside of your folder, you should have 4 paper clipped things. What can I do at home to support what you all are doing here? Don't stress them out. Don't wave the flag in front of me. If you don't pass the test, you're gonna fail in 4th grade. Don't stress them out like that. All we can do is all we can do, and all we can do is enough. Okay, and I promise you, we're doing a lot. So if we try to give them too much and still keep pushing, that's not gonna help the situation. But what we can do is make it a habit in the home that we are doing these different things. We started sending some of this home for homework, so you should be familiar. The students have their packets here at school, but we wanted today, again, just to send it to you. I know they start testing tomorrow. Ms. Johnson, why are you giving us this today? It's too late. It's never too late. Again, if they don't get 424 this beginning of April, we have 2 more times to get them to 424. So it's never too late. But you have something called a maze packet. Maze is, remember the fill in the blank test we used to take? That's maze. Okay? It's basically fill in the blank. That test that they know vocabulary and comprehension of a story and can actually add words to a story to help it make sense. That's maze. What we used to do is fill in the blank. Now you know leak testing don't look like that no more, but it's still old school with Dibbles because that's all this is, fill in the blank. Whole word read. This just sight words. Remember we had to learn them sight words? That's how we learn words. We didn't learn them sounds, talking about some apps. We didn't do all that. I don't know about y'all. I went to school way back then. But I don't remember doing phonics. I remember learning sight words. That's what this is. They have to be able to look at a list of words and read them. Sight word fluency. This, they have to learn how to read they have to read a passage with no mistakes in 1 minute. That's what this is. A grade level passage in 1 minute to see that they can read fluently. That's all this is, reading the passage. And they start this in what, 1st grade? The text just gets harder and harder and harder. The content becomes harder. I think Ms. Hilton told me one of the times that she did a practice test with them. All of the students scored low because we look at that. We do something called progress monitor, where the students have to do all of these measures just to kind of show us how they're progressing along the time. And she said the content was on Mexican food. So if you're not used to the language, what's gonna happen? I don't know that word. But if you are used to the language, you know the word. So a lot of this is like background knowledge and just having conversations about the different contents of the stories that they have. Sometimes if you've never been to a beach, you might not know what exploring is by the time you get to third grade. So that's what a lot of it is. It is academic vocabulary that students have to get used to saying and knowing. So a lot of times their experiences is what helps them to do better on these type of assessments where they're reading about something that they actually know about. And then lastly, I know y'all get this list and be like, what am I supposed to do with this? These nonsense words. Ms. Hilton, I'm gonna piggyback to you on this one because this is your baby right here, and the expectation of what the students is supposed to do on the DIBELS assessment. When they look at this sheet, they're supposed to read them, correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Hilton, just like they would sight words. If they could read this screwed up, jumbled up words, that lets us know that they know sounds are associated with letters. That lets us know that they know how to read the word itself because they know the sound. Remember, we were taught you learn the letter and then the letter has a sound. That ain't how that goes. It's actually, there are sounds, and there's, for every sound, there's a symbol, which is a letter or a group of letters to match the sound. So it's the opposite of what we learn, and we just have to teach them the way of learning it. But the expectation is, like DUT. D-U-T is not a real word. It's a nonsense word. But the expectation is for them to read it like they see it. That word is DUT. They should be able to say DUT. Because if they say DUT, we know that they know the D makes the DUT sound, the U makes the sound, and the T makes the T sound. So if they see a list like this, they have to be able to go across this list, and this is what I want you to practice with them at home, the whole month of April. DUT, at, month, till, month. They just got all of the points they needed. And then some, 2 times, right? They get it for the sound and reading the whole word.
But if the kids cannot say the word, they can say the and then just go back and say the, but they gotta do it fast.
Because it's only 1 minute.
We'll give them credit for saying the sound, but we want them to say the whole word. So if they can do the and say the, but if not, if they can't, they just let them do the and just let them make sure they say the sound, but they have to say 115 sounds in 1 minute. So that's why we try to get them to say the whole word, because they only have to say 31 words in 1 minute.
And again, it's reading it like it's sight words.
If you give them 30 times, we're just trying to give them the points that they can get if they want.
And boys and girls, if you're in here, if you get stuck and you are reading from this list, let's just say you can say does and, but when you get to one and you're like confused, you can go back and forth between reading the whole word and then reading the sounds and saying the word.
Or you can
Skip it and go to the next one.
Or skip it.
Don't stop.
Don't stop.
Just keep going.
Keep going.
Yeah, don't stop.
I told you 50% of passing the test is knowing how to take it. Okay? So again, those are the main 4 measures that you get when you're taking a test. We've been practicing. A lot of the times, it's more so the time. Because our accuracy, guys, the kids are doing it. And that's one of the things that we talked about when we just aggregated this data back in mid-year. Guess what? They're doing it because the accuracy tells us so. Accuracy is how correct they're doing it. Everybody that we looked at is above 85% in accuracy. That means they're doing it, they're just not doing enough of it in 1 minute. And the minute timer tells us that they're fluent in it, if that makes sense. So the slower you go and at your own pace, it's telling us, yeah, you got it, but you're not fluent. In order to truly comprehend what you're doing, you have to be able to do it at a pace that says that you're fluent in it. So that's what it's testing you most of the time, just the fluency. That's why we have the minute timers on it. So again, 31 words. And if they can score strong in 3 out of these 4 measures, they can be at benchmark, not even below. They'll scoot above below. But nonsense words is where it is. And I would probably say, if I had to pick 2 measures, I would probably say nonsense words and oral read fluency. That's where it is. Because we have to hit those 2 hard.
On this is what you said.
Mm-hmm.
But I won't marry if it's the opposite correct. But if make sure they know the word
it's not a real word, so they not gonna, the pronunciation gonna be all kinda off. They gonna, and that's what tricks kids up, because they know it's not a real word. So we try to make it fun, like we use silly words, nonsense words, you know, it's a not real word, you know, just trying to like beef it up to just like, I just need you to say the sounds and whatever you think that word might say. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Real word, but this is just showing that I know my spelling, I know my Bible, I know my, diagram, I know all my different things on it, and I can tell that it's a long time.
And this assessment is not new, guys. They've been doing this since I was teaching back in 2008. I administered this test when I taught second grade. So it's not a new test. The difference is the state is putting weight on it now, because they want third graders to leave third grade on grade level when it comes to literacy. I think I saw another hand, Mr. Perry.
Yeah, so if a word, so like when I look at a word, like I'm looking at the third row, the first word, I can easily say I'd be pronounced Jed or Ged.
Ged.
Does it matter which they pick?
It is, because it's a short vowel sound, which is the G.
No, that one's the get, or get, if they say either or, they get that.
Oh.
Because that G has.
Sounds.
Yeah, it
What about
has.
Good question.
What about vowel pairs that could have multiple pronunciations, like EA, like it says TR, EA, TH. If that's a B, it's breath. If it's a W, it's read. So should that be E or should it be E, or does it not matter?
It depends on what the computer says it should be. But then, like you said, yeah, and if they have the TREATH, and you say tree, and you can get the TH, the T, the H, you make this the EA, depending on how you pronounce it, and you'll get the last sound, so you'll get the three out of the 5 sounds. But if I say tree, trek, and I miss it, I get credit for the whole word, but I only get the 3 sounds. So say the word is worth 10, I'll get 8 of those 10 points that's available. You understand that?
Is there a place where we can refer to so that we can make sure our kids are pronouncing the things correctly, and for things like that, where the computer says it's one thing, I don't know which it is?
The only thing I would say is whatever they have on the LDOE website. Now, I don't know if they get
Yeah, I can
that.
check there. And I'll
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they get that in depth.
They don't
now. I would say.
But now there,
Go
I'm sorry, I
ahead.
didn't want to cut you off. Now there's a, articulation. Yeah, oh, that's just reading. Never mind, scratch that.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's all a good question. Now, what I can say about it is, what Ms. Ventures was hitting at, if they just keep going, they do get whatever the computer picks up. And this is not, these ladies just, and their team just administer assessment, and then that means sitting across for them and reading the directions. The computer does everything else. So they have to know how to work the computer and keep it moving, keep the screen going and all of that, even down to kindergarten, okay? So when they do it, even if they don't, the computer, I think it's fairly generous with because even if your baby reads low and they don't hear it, they gonna score whatever they pick up. So I think it gives you the points for the stuff that they hear, but as far as articulation, I'm not sure like what they do. But the best resource will be somewhere on LDOE website if they have anything. Any other questions there? No question is a crazy question. Okay, only the ones not asked. I might have an answer, I might not. All right, I think I kind of went over all of the basics, the main things, just the key points for you to remember. Just because they don't score below or higher in April doesn't mean we stop there. We will get the opportunity to test two more times before the start of the new school year. Our goal here at Audubon is to get all of them gone with the first one. We have been doing, we have put things in place, multiple things in place since January rolled over when we got the list of students who were falling well below in mid-year. Out of 66, you have 66 or 67. Oh, 65, it was 67 about a week ago. So out of 65 students, we only have 23 students that score well below. That sounds like a lot, but it's not well far off like they were just down up in the gutter somewhere and we can't get them out. That's not the case. there are some that's right there, and it's a moving target. So we've not only been working with our well below students. If your baby scored below on a mid-year, they've been getting the same intensive work as well as benchmark. If they're like right there, benchmark was 450 and yours scored a 450 or a 455, because again, it's a moving target. In the year, to be benchmark is numbers by heart. 442. But mid-year benchmark was 434, somewhere around the 430s. So it's a moving target. So just because they were benchmarked mid-year, it's not the same score that they have to reach to be benchmarked end of year. So again, you're all here because all of our students get the same exact interventions. Some of them are a little bit more intense because we need to get them from well below to below. But even the ones that are benchmarked, that scored like, okay, I got it, check. If they even scored benchmark and they were not close to that 442, they're getting the same intense interventions that our well below students get, because we gotta keep them moving and progressing. Okay? Again, all of the documents that I went over are inside of your package. This is not a meeting to scare you or to scare them or to put pressure on them. This is the end of no. This is where we are, and I promise you, the 6 of us will hold your hand through this whole process, because again, our end goal, we cannot be a B school if we don't move all our babies forward. We are 4.4 points away from a B school, y'all. Okay, so with that, we all in this together. We want them to move on, and we want them to be excited about moving on. They know that it's not to pressure them, it's to, we all in this fight together. So we gonna hold your hand through this whole entire process, but it starts tomorrow. So make sure that they get a good night's rest tonight. Make sure that they are ready tomorrow. Pump them up. We gonna pump them up, okay? Again, it's not to stress them out. We want them to do their absolute best, and to know that their absolute best is enough. Even if they fall a little short, that's okay. We're gonna pick them up where we want them to go, but we have high hopes for them. We're pushing them on, okay? Okay. All right. Ladies, y'all want to share anything? Say anything? Not yet.
I'm Ms. Davidson. Of course, we're all working with different components for the DIBELS. I'm going to be working with nonsense word fluency. And I want to just stress, I know that Ms. Johnson has already given the basic information about nonsense words. To keep it on, to get your words in 1 minute, I just want to stress that if they don't know the word, move on to the next word. That was one thing I had to say. And keep in mind the rules that apply. The silent E, please, most of our children have a problem with recognizing the sounds for the silent, that go along with the silent E, which is the long vowel sound. So look at the words that have the silent E and practice those, and the R control words. The R control words have a vowel in front of them. So please practice on those more than the others. They get the other sounds, but those are the ones that they have more, that are more difficult for them. So please practice with those words every night. And just keeping in mind how many words are needed in order to be fluent, or how many words do we need? how many words do we need? 31.
Let me show you where you find all of that from. Like what Ms. Davis was just saying, if you go back to the page we gave you that has the chart on it, I just went over the composite score because that's what we look at, but every measure has the actual number that they actually need under each one. So if like you, Ms. Davis was talking about nonsense word fluency, the first one on the composite, so below they need A. You see where I got it from off of this chart? So everything that you need is on this chart. And if you need to know what they need to do to make it there.
So in your packet, we put them, together so that you'll know, what to refer to. So the nonsense words are in your packet, clamped together. And I think it's like, maybe 4 sheets. Please practice all of those. Practice them as much as possible. And just every night, if you can go, 3 or 4 times with practicing for 1 minute, just making sure that they are familiar with all of these, sounds. That's all about it. Okay.
All right, so the last opportunity that we wanted to share with you all, we did have more, money in our school budget to extend some tutoring, opportunities for students. We know after school can be a big deal. We push some things on Saturday, so if you want a Saturday, we'll have opportunities on a Saturday that you guys we're extending to you all. Where, the teachers as well as our intervention team will come out and do the same work with them the month of April. Yes, we're starting DIBELS testing tomorrow, but again, we don't want any student falling short, so we'll continue all of our services throughout the month of April, every Monday, because they have lead tutoring Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that's being offered, but I think we put in place every Monday, starting next Monday. Every Saturday, including the Saturday that's coming up in April, not Good Friday Saturday, you know y'all gonna be balling crawfish and just invite me, cause I like crawfish. Okay. And then the week before, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The week before we're out, not the week, well, that is the week before, but the week of Good Friday, that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we can dedicate to 3rd grade, for an hour and a half. I think that it's an hour and a half on Mondays, and I think we did 3 hours on Saturday. So all of that's in the letter that you received that you'll receive on the orange paper if you're interested. Again, it's open to all of our students. It is drop off and pick up, because it's a brand new program that we just decided to do when we were kind of like turning on our heads to kind of like keep this going. So it is drop off and pick up, they'll have to bring their lunch because we cannot put this through the cafeteria and or transportation because that requires a 20-day notice in advance. So it is, if you want to be able to, but if you commit to it, please be committed to it because it took the same thing over and over and over. That's how you get better. You can't just go on the football, you can't go on the field and just throw a ball one time and think you're an all-star quarterback. Practice makes perfect. You gotta do it over and over and over and over again. And that's what we've been drilling into our students since the beginning of the school year and really, really honing it in once we got those mid-year results. So this is not to just say we started something April 1st. It's to tell you that we are in this together. We still see where the need is and we are going full-fledged because we want every opportunity that our babies take this assessment that they go on to 4th grade. All right, so they're gonna be in that number, that 4.4% that it takes to become a B school. Okay, in your packet, if your student did score well below, there is a form in there that you need to sign and make sure that you leave with the teachers tonight. It just basically goes over that they did perform it well below. We put some things in place, we gave you some more material, and that you know that the test starts tomorrow, and we're gonna be practicing these skills at home with the paperwork that we gave you. This is the form that looks like this, that actually has your child name on the front. If you did not get one, that just simply means that they scored at least below on the mid-year assessment. Alright? And then you don't have to do it like they come up to the table, they have pens and stuff up here. That's all I have. Any more questions for me? Again, no question is a crazy question. I'm here, you can stop, you can come up to me and ask whatever the need is. Alright, that's it.